Hey guys, very basic Bible quick read through Esther. Going to start in Esther chapter 2, verse 3. Here we go, 7 minutes. And the king, and may the king appoint overseers in all the provinces of his kingdom, and have them bring every beautiful young virgin to the citadel of Susa, to the harem, into the custody of Hege, the king's eunuch, and is in charge of the women. And let their cosmetics be given to them. Let the young women who pleases let the young woman who pleases the king be queen in place of Vashti. And the suggestion pleased the king, and he did accordingly. So remember, Queen Vashti is no longer king anymore. Now King Ahasuerus is like, wait a minute, I got no queen. And they're like, don't worry, we'll get you a queen. We're going to find plenty of young ladies. We'll bring them all to your capital. Don't worry, they'll be taken care of. You'll have you a queen. Verse 5. There was a Jew at the citadel in Susa whose name was Mordecai, the son of Jair, the son of Shimei, the son of Kish, a Benjaminite. Of course, it gives his genealogy to say this dude's legit. That's why they give genealogy. That's one reason for giving genealogies. Mordecai had been taken from Jerusalem with the exiles who had been deported with Jeconiah, king of Judah, whom Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, deported. So Mordecai is one of the exiles. Nebuchadnezzar comes and takes the place over and deports all them guys, and Mordecai was amongst them. Mordecai was the guardian of Hadassah, that is Esther, his uncle's daughter, for she had no father or mother. Now the young woman was beautiful of form and face, and when her father and her mother died, Mordecai took her as his own daughter. Okay, that's good. Take care of her. So it came about when the command and decree of the king were heard, and many young ladies were gathered to the citadel of Susa into the custody of Haggai, that Esther was taken into the king's palace, into the custody of Haggai, who was in charge of the women. Repeats itself a little bit, but hey, that's okay. Now the young lady pleased Haggai. Esther pleased him and found favor with him. So he quickly provided her with her cosmetics and food, gave her 7 choice female attendants from the king's palace, and transferred her and her attendants to the best place in the harem. Pretty cool. But Esther did not reveal her people or her kindred, because Mordecai had instructed her that she was not to reveal them. She was a Jew. Mordecai's like, don't go telling the people you're a Jew. And every day Mordecai walked back and forth in front of the courtyard of the harem to learn how Esther was and what was happening to her. Now when the turn came for each young woman to go in to King Ahasuerus, after the end of her 12 months under the regulations for the women, for the days of their beauty treatment were completed as followed: 6 months with oil of myrrh, and 6 months with balsam oil and the cosmetics for women. The young women would go into the king in this way. Okay, look, when turn came for each young woman to go in. So after 12 months of beauty treatment, one of them, the woman goes in. How are they going to see the king? How are they going to go in? Anything that she desired was given to her to take with her from the harem to the king's palace. Okay, she could take whatever she wanted. In the evening, she would enter, and in the morning, she would return to the second harem, to the custody of Shashgaz, the king's eunuch who was in charge of the concubines. She would not go into the king again unless the king delighted in her and she was summoned by name. This is a difficult process. Goodness gracious, man. Gather all the ladies, 12 months of beauty treatment. When it's their turn, they go in, they could take anything. When they leave, they go into the other harem, to another, and if the king wants her back, it's like, come on, man, I don't know. Now in the turn of Esther, the daughter of Abihail, the uncle of Mordecai, who had taken her as his daughter, Mordecai, had taken Esther as his daughter, came to go into the king. She did not request anything except what Haggai, the king's eunuch who was in charge of the women, advised. And Esther was finding favor in the eyes of all who saw her. So Esther was taken to King Ahasuerus in his royal palace in the 10th month, which is the month Tebeth, in the 7th year of his reign. So it said in the 2nd year of his reign, he got rid of Vashti. 7th year of his reign, 5 years later, he ain't got a wife yet. This guy's picky. The king loved Esther more than all the women. Imagine that. And she found favor and kindness with him more than all the virgins, so that he sent the royal turban, so that he set the royal turban on her head and made her queen in place of Vashti. The book is called Esther. Then the king held a great banquet, Esther's banquet, for all his officials and his servants. He also made a holiday for the provinces and gave gifts in proportion to the king's bounty. Why are we going through all this? This is a lot of explanation. Man, like no more Queen Vashti. Now Esther is queen, and we got to keep talking about this person and that person and giving their names and exactly how the process was gone about. I don't know. Now, when the virgins were gathered together for the second time, then Mordecai was sitting at the gate. The second time. I don't know why they gathered a second time. Esther still had not revealed her relatives or her people, just as Mordecai had instructed her. For Esther did what Mordecai told her, just as she had when under his care. So now Esther's under the care of the king, but she's still following Mordecai's order. The king does not know Esther's a Jew. Esther didn't tell anybody she's a Jew. Okay. In those days, while Mordecai was sitting at the king's gate, Bigthan and Teresh, two of the king's officials from those who guarded the door, became angry and sought to attack King Ahasuerus. But the plot became known to Mordecai, and he informed Queen Esther, and Esther told King in Mordecai's name. Yeah, props to Mordecai. Then the plot was investigated and found to be so. Then, when the plot was investigated and found to be so, they were both hanged on a wooden gallows, and it was written in the book of the Chronicles in the king's presence. Okay, in front of the king, they wrote it. So now the king knows about Mordecai, I guess. Okay, guys, I didn't mean to do exactly the chapter, but that's what it happens. Remember, if you want detailed verse by verse exposition, smart scholarly people going through every verse, scroll down under the video, plenty of video links to take you to verse by verse teaching. But for now, we'll say bye until the next Very Basic Bible Quick Read.